Hello and welcome. My name is Tara, intuitive healer, teacher, guide, specializing in shadow work. And I'm going to talk about where I'm at with my journey. I every now and then do a little check-in to let you know some of the experiences that happen along this way of awakening, of healing, of transformation, of shadow work. And I have to say, over the last couple months, it has been game-changing. And if you've been following at least my Golden Heart Rising channel, the tarot channel that I used to run, which is on hold temporarily or maybe permanently. I'm not quite sure yet. But if you've been following me here, it's been over a year that I've been posting videos to this channel alone. But I've been posting YouTube videos from the tarot channel probably 2.5 years now. And during that time, when I started uploading tarot videos, I was going through the dark night of the soul. Actually, it was before that I was starting my process. And I've been documenting it here and there as I go along. I probably will at one point write a book about it because I feel that there's a lot of information to understand with this process. And so with these videos, I'm really trying to do my best to communicate effectively of the details of this process. And it is difficult to communicate it all appropriately because a lot of it is based on feelings. A lot of it is based on senses and a sensory experience. But I'll do my best to try and explain what it's like, what to do to manage it, how to work through it, and what to expect on this journey of awakening, of ascension, of healing and transformation. So first of all, I use the word healing a lot and transformation. I feel that healing and transformation are pretty much the same thing. I feel that through the process of transformation, we heal naturally. And I have to say, with the process of transformation, it is conscious. So if you are working towards healing, towards transformation, towards bettering your life, towards creating a new reality or new experiences or new career, new love, anything to improve your life on a deep level, then you are going to go through some kind of death and rebirth phase. You may go through uncomfortable energies. You may go through self-reflection of what you need to change within yourself in order to line you up with the kind of life you are wanting. If it's a new career path, if it is new relationship, if it is family dynamics, your body, health and wellness. There are many different aspects, of course, within our lives that we can look at that we can change. Everything is open for us to create according to how we feel connected with, what kind of reality we are craving, what kind of life we are craving, what kind of desire do we feel mostly drawn towards. This is all up for you to create. But the more in alignment that you are, the more that you understand yourself. And this is a learning process. Sometimes things will change as you move along. The more you will be able to create a future that is really in alignment with who you truly are and what is important for you, where your values lie. And so this is part of the work of discovering who we are first so that we can create the life that we desire. And like I said, it can change. We may have an idea of what we want, of who we are, the kind of life that we want, and then it might change after a year. And that is normal because through this process, we learn more and more about ourselves. This is a multidimensional experience, like I said. There are many layers to this. But the more you can dedicate yourself towards the work, the greater change you will see and the more you will discover about yourself. I have been dedicated to this path for the last 3 years. And I mean dedicated, fully 100% focused on creating change in my life. Because what I was doing and the kind of life I was living before was going nowhere. It wasn't even going nowhere, it was going downhill. It took a massive nosedive. All areas of my life got shook. And I was really not in a good place. I was very unwell. I was attracting very toxic situations in my life. My health was taking a hit. My emotions were completely out of control. I didn't know who I was. I was lost, and I was forced into this situation, into the dark night of the soul, which I'm very grateful for. I felt like, change needed to happen. I felt like something needed to happen, and I was ready for it because I can be very resilient. I could be very strong and deal with a lot. So I took a lot of hits for that. And it took me a long time to really face the fact that the way I was living my life was not working. In all areas was not working. So I was the universe forced me into the dark night of the soul. I had to go through it and I wanted to go through it. I knew that I was ready for it and I knew that it was the time to make the choice. Through that change, it was very painful. It was pain beyond my imagination. It was amplified. It was a pain that I can't even express the level of it. It was deep. It was dark. It lasted for 3 years. And it was very difficult. There were moments where I wanted to give up, many moments. There were moments where I wanted to quit. There were moments where I just had enough. There were moments where I felt lost. There were moments where I felt like nothing was working. There were moments where I was feeling angry, where I was feeling almost violent. It was just out of control almost, some of the emotions that were surfacing. But what was happening is old emotions needed to purge. I had to allow myself the space and time to go through the purging of the old. And it was gross. It was really uncomfortable, but it was necessary. And if you're familiar with the process, you could be familiar with the death and rebirth, where we go through the purging. We may feel that we're going through the most difficult, painful emotions that we could ever experience. But then when we come out of it, we feel different. We feel renewed. There's a new sense of awareness, of self, of realizations, and it keeps growing and growing as long as you're committed to the process. And sometimes you might not want to do the work. Sometimes I didn't want to do the work. Sometimes I wanted to just have a life and live my life that I've always wanted, but I still had more work to do. And this is the process. And we have to understand that we may think that we're ready and we may think that we want the life that we're dreaming now, but we still have to go through the changes. And it all happens in perfect timing. And my ego, if I heard that a year ago, my ego would not have it. I was very stubborn. I was very angry with the process. I was very angry with life because of what I had gone through and the continual pain and suffering that I was going through. But now I see it and I understand it. And we have to go through that to understand more about ourselves and to shed the layers that we have within ourselves so that we can step into our pure self and so that we can fully understand who we are and feel into ourselves, understand ourselves more, understand life, and be able to work through life without our ego, without judgment, without shame, and being in our true authentic self. But it's beyond that. It is understanding life fully. It is feeling life fully without, again, judgment or labeling or shaming, feeling with the senses. And I'm on a different path. I'm going to experience it differently. You're going to experience it differently. Again, I'm doing my best to convey my experiences. But what also has changed, especially over the last 2 months, huge shift. I feel that a lot of my work has really, really paid off. Am I there yet? We'll see, to be determined, but I feel more and more there. I feel more and more whole and pure and in alignment with myself. And I see and I feel reality very differently. So I used to be very angry. I used to be very judgmental. I used to have a lot of criticism. I used to hold on to things. I used to ruminate. I used to, I had a lot of resentment. I had a lot of just really toxic energies within myself. And that since has dissolved. Now, what has happened in replace of the negative energies has been expansion. It has been love, has been understanding, has been peace and calm and flow. Wow. I can't believe that I am experiencing this, considering that I lived a whole lifetime in the negative energies. And we're talking thick negative energies. That was my full-time residency, was in those really harsh negative energies. And I am slowly feeling the potential of this work, of how incredibly beautiful it is and incredibly powerful it is. And when we are able to let go of holding on to things, looking at things in such a judgmental and analytical, like really looking at the details and labeling, when we look at things in an expansive viewpoint, sorry, the dishwasher's going in the background, you might hear it. When we can feel and sense and take everything in and see things in the reality that it is, all expansive, then that's the shift. That's when we let go of the holding on and what isn't working, and again, the judgment and labeling and criticism. We let go of it and we see things bigger. We see things in a more expansive viewpoint. We feel in a very powerful way. Our senses become heightened. We see the truth in reality. The way that we deal with people changes. Our relationships change and improve. The way that we react, the way that we feel about ourselves changes and improves. And this is a constant process. All right. And like I said, I was very impatient. I wanted change to happen now. I was tired of living. I had the story, the narrative. I was replaying it over and over and over, being a bit of a victim, the struggle, what I would say into the world, the resentment, I was living in it full time, like I said. But now I see why I was living in it. I see why I was saying the things that I was saying. I see why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. It was just old programs and old stories that were on repeat that I kept living in. And I was very conscious around breaking those patterns. And that's why it's so important to be aware of the subconscious and to be aware of the shadow side. Hugely important. I can't stress this enough. If you're not facing your deeper side within, you're not going to see the change, and especially our subconscious programs. We have to be very aware of ourselves, but it gives you more self-awareness. And with that more self-awareness, it gives you greater life awareness. You start to see things differently. You start to see your own reality differently, and you start to understand yourself differently. Then you get to heal yourself. Then you get to transform yourself. Then you get to create the life you want. Then you are in control of your life. For the most part, we want to say we are a little bit and we also aren't, because we are also on a certain path in our life and we have some kind of cosmic timeline that we're on that we need to go through, and that is part of life. But for the most part, the choices that we make, the way we respond in the world, the life that we want to create, the relationships that we want, we get to create that. But the more aware we are, the more that we understand, the more we see, the greater ability we have to do that. And the greater life we have, because we're not harboring these negative energies. We're not trapped in our subconscious programs. We see life more expansive. We have better relationships. We are out enjoying life. Our body is healthy. Our mind is healthy. Our heart is healthy. Our soul is lit up. I'm telling you, it is worth the work. This is where I am right now. I feel lighter. I feel like a lot of toxic energies. I want to say all, but I know it's not all, because there's probably something in there on a subconscious level. I'm very aware that yes, there might still be work to do, but the change and the effort, the change from the effort is incredible. It's unexplainable. I can't even put words to how I feel, to the change that I've noticed, to the way I respond. And now I'm back here where I was 3 years ago, and the difference, me coming back here and reflecting back. Now that is a really great gauge if you want to see how much you've changed. Go back where you were 3 years ago and look at who you were 3 years ago. And this is a night and day difference, hugely different. I see and I feel and I respond differently. And that's what this is all about, right? And it's a continual process, as I mentioned. There are many layers that I'm definitely going to discover when the time comes. We get triggered by certain events that are new to us, that we may have to go through, that we will have to go through, because it will allow us to go deeper or understand ourselves more, or make some tweaks, or even decide what we want to create, what kind of life we want, etc., right? So this is my update for you all, and I'm wishing you all the best on your healing, transformative manifestation journey. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out, and keep an eye out for more coming up with shadow work. The Shadow Project, of course, is going to be back up in August, and I look forward to connecting with you more as we move along through this journey and beyond. Take care.